Hello, my name is Nathan Stark, and this is a brief history and explanation of my last end of the semester project for advanced comp sci data structures. So, what I chose to do for my project is I chose to emulate a game that is on Steam called SnakeBird, and essentially it's a puzzle game in which you are operating a snakebird through a level that you design as it collects fruits, which add to its size, and it tries to reach the end through a series of obstacles, hoping not to get stuck or to fall. Well, actually, I wasn't able to do the fall part, but hopefully not fall off the edge, because sometimes that will soft lock the character. So I'm just gonna run my code right now and show how the game works before I dive into the code. So here we go. This is the GUI, and it uses the key event Java auth program, or an interface. I believe it is an interface to collect the key presses and move the snake. And so here, just the colors, what the colors represent. You have black is ground, you have red is fruit, even though it kind of looks like lava. You have magenta is the finish line, and then green is the snake's body, and the cyan is the head. And so that's a right press. This is an up press. This is a left press, and it has gravity because it can't stay in the air, because that's just the way the game was designed. So in this level, what you want to do is you want to navigate the snake up here, and then it will expand the body so it doesn't fall off the ledge there where it gets soft locked. And then you go right, the gravity will bring it down, and you collect that, go up, well done. And so that's the level I made. And I want to show how I made this level, how you can make more levels using the framework that I created, given the SnakeBird and the graphics program ACM. So that's the first thing. I used ACM, and initially I had some trouble trying to figure out how to tackle this project. So the first thing I tried to do didn't end up working out. My first draft ended up being unusable at a certain point because there wasn't any way to like cohesively add the snakebird to the level. And because I was creating a hierarchy of different types of entities, and if you do that and you try to add them to the graphics program, it just becomes because what I was doing is I was like making all of them extend G rectangle and implement one interface that I could create a array of. And when I tried to do that, it ended up being impossible to like use those entities in a 2D array and have them cohese together and interact together. It was just yeah, no, it didn't work. So here is my main class, my name tester class. And so we have all of the different imports. I try to keep it as low as possible. So when you see one of these for loops, it's just displaying the entire game. And so this is my key event area, and these are some of the methods that I'm going to talk about later. So yeah, there's my main program. So what I started off with in my newer rendition, my final rendition of this project, is I started off realizing that I needed to make SnakeBird the only entity that I was worrying about, because if I had it SnakeBird in the same hierarchy as all these other things, it would end up inheriting something similar to those, and it would be difficult to make them sort of collide and have different properties. So so what I did here is I don't have any other entities. I just have how the SnakeBird interacts with different kinds of colors of G rectangles in my game program, which I'll talk about later. But what I started off for making the SnakeBird is I started off with a SnakeBird segment thing where I had coordinates that would pretty much sort of like a list, a what's the name? It's the linked list. Yeah, sort of like a linked list. They all have coordinates, and when in the SnakeBird class, you have an array list of those coordinates. And so in the SnakeBird class, you have the add body method, which will add a body segment that follows the head around. You have the move, which just takes a change in X, change in Y, and will move it. It doesn't do any collisions because collisions are in the game section. And then you have fall, which simulates gravity. It just brings down the snake one. Yeah, so that's basically just the SnakeBird. See, the SnakeBird and the SnakeBird segments are very bare bones. They're very simplified, because I found that doing most of the collision stuff in like one game class was just way easier than trying to use the hierarchy and like make a 2D array in like the run method, because it's way easier to sort it when you have different like methods that you can use rather than just putting it all in the run method, and it's a lot more organized. I feel like it's less coupling, better cohesion. So here we have, I chose to use for my data a 2D array of G rectangles, because I felt like 2D arrays for a grid-based game is going to be the most efficient data structure. And let's see, I also, okay, I gotta change that a little bit, but this is supposed to be SnakeBird. So this is where I make the level, and basically the level, the only stuff I have to make is just the colors, because I'm not making other entities. I'm showing how the SnakeBird interacts with those colors. And so first I set the grid up all white, then I add the obstacles, then I add the snake, then here is the fall method, which uses SnakeBird fall, but also has a lot of other stuff. It knows when it's colliding with the floor. It knows when it's colliding with non-white objects, so it can stop when it hits a non-white object. Here we have the move method. This is probably the most complicated method in the entire program. It basically returns whether the SnakeBird finishes in that move or not. And so the different interactions here, you have just it moving through space with no collision, which is the first one. You have it reaching a fruit, in which case it has to replace the segment that was just nullified into a new segment and increase the length of the snake. You have you have this one, which interacts with the magenta block, which is the finish line, and basically that returns false, which signifies to the main class or to the key events method that it is time to wrap up, time to put the finish poster on it. And the next three are pretty simple methods. One is just remove snake, one is add snake, one is get G rectangle. These are important in changing the position of the snake bird. And yeah, that's basically it. Thanks for watching.